about cadets working with the MPA, with the NIMASA, with NNLG. Well, I assume that these are working in the regulatory arms. Am I correct? Are they working on ships as well? Are they working as ship engineers? Are they working as providing ship security? Can you please? And then while saying that as well, we know we are like gender sensitive now. Unfortunately, I'm the only woman on this panel, but but we are gender sensitive now. I want you to shed some light on the percentage of your cadets who are actually women. I attended a function about 2 weeks ago, I think it was organized by NIMAREX, and I saw a lot of women who were telling me that they were deckhands, they were officers on board ships. So I want you to give us statistics too, as to how many of your intakes are actually women, and how many of them complete the courses, and how they can also work to enhancing safety in the blue economy going forward.
Thank you again, Madam Moderator. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I have some problems with my throat. The Nigeria Maritime University, has been established recently. To be honest, I don't know whether they are running their programs free, but I do know that we provide a lot of leadership to that institution because they regularly put their cadets on their buses and move them into Maritime Academy of Nigeria, and we keep them for like 2-3 weeks and train them. We've done up to 3 or 4 batches of this training for the Maritime University because the academy is well set up to provide this training, and it is on record. Okay, so I do not understand about their fees, but I know that we are also doing a lot of assistance to them. As for the other private training institutions, we are doing quite different things, to ensure safety in the maritime industry. You have to, first of all, train the people that are going to operate either the vessels or shore-based staff who are going to work in the port, freight forwarding, and so on. What many of the private training institutions that are approved by NIMASA are doing are actually providing safety-related mandatory courses. Because in the industry, as you know, there's a lot of emphasis on competency. And because of that competency requirement, you have to continually renew your proficiency in doing different things. Firefighting, elementary first aid, survival at sea. So these standalone 1-day, 2-day, 3-day, 5-day courses that are in compliance with the International Convention on Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping for Seafarers 1978, which we popularly refer to as the STCW. It is those kinds of courses that they have obtained accreditation from NIMASA to run. Again, the academy has been there for a very long time, and it's also good to emphasize that we are continuing to provide leadership, even for the new training institutions, because it's a requirement of the STCW that those who are training in any maritime training institution have to have certain certification themselves. And NIMASA continuously requests that they come to the academy for training course for instructors in the maritime industry. And we do that quite regularly.
My Lord or Mr. Adewale wishes to intervene or say anything, please indicate. And then I'm going to ask another question. My Lord did mention earlier on that we are now in the era of AI, artificial intelligence. In what way do you think AI has been or can be incorporated into maritime training and education in order to enhance maritime safety in the blue economy?
Thank you very much, Madam. I'm happy because those questions are continuing to lead me to things I would like to say about the academy. Okay. With respect to AI, specifically, we may not say that we have standalone AI product in the institution, but in recent times, the amount of technology we have introduced into our training Some of them also incorporate AI. But we take this very seriously. We take the introduction of technology, the fast introduction of technology into shipping very seriously. That's why about 3 years ago, the Academy procured and installed 11 state-of-the-art simulators incorporating the latest technologies in shipping. These simulators that have been installed in the Academy, many of them are mandatory for the certification of seafarers in safety. So if I had the time, I would just mention some of them for the people that are involved. But if we don't have the time, I'll just go ahead to say that arising from this development, we have we have obtained accreditation for 12 simulator-based courses. And let me just mention one of those simulators that incorporates the AI that we are talking about. We have full mission bridge simulator, and we have full mission engine room simulator, but most importantly, we have virtual reality simulator. And these are things that, these are equipment that have incorporated a lot of technology. But AI standalone, we are training the cadets on what is coming, and they have to be prepared while they are going into the industry. Thank you very much.
And my final question before you all round up, and then we'll probably take a few questions from the audience. I asked you before, and I repeat, what is the percentage of female cadets in your organization? 2, and then the second one is, your cadets, are they exportable? Do they serve on ships across the world, or they only serve on ships in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. I am very sorry I forgot the percentage of female in the academy. I will not be able to put a finger on a particular percentage, but during admission, we deliberately, because of IMO policy, the IMO demands and encourages the introduction of ladies, female, into the maritime industry. So during admission, we reserve up to 30% of the admission to female cadets. But the bad news, well, not so bad, is that we never have them that many. But the evidence of what we have achieved should be very encouraging to women. Because today, if you go to the NLNG, you see female captains, that is master mariners, those who have risen to the peak of ship operation. Taking on these responsibilities that were previously reserved for men. 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks ago, Amano, the alumni of Maritime Academy of Nigeria, had an event at Eco Hotel, which I represented the rector. The vice president of that organization is Captain Connie Donia. She works for the NLNG. The first female NLNG, that is Ship Management Limited, female master mariner, Captain Agbanebe. These are all products of Maritime Academy of Nigeria. And to come to the issue of whether our cadets are limited or for unlimited service. Okay, technically in the industry, we talk about training of people to serve within the near coastal voyage. Near coastal voyage does not mean domestic anywhere. Near coastal voyage is defined still international, but not deep sea. If you take the laws, but they need review, near coastal voyage in our own environment means from Cape Verde to the mouth of River Congo, maybe going 40 nautical miles out to sea. The academy is not training people for that limited service. The academy is training people for both that and unlimited service. Okay, but let me point out something, please, for those let me preempt those who might want to ask me some questions in this respect. Before the training is by international standard separated from certification. So we have to take note of that. The academy is responsible for carrying out training, but certification of people with the competency and proficiency to work on board vessels, for example, is NIMASA's responsibility. So no matter the extent to which we train, no matter the extent of our standards, those people cannot find themselves on board a vessel until they have satisfied certain requirements and get certification from NIMASA. And one of those requirements is outside our reach, being able to have sea time training on board vessels after their graduation through the academic training in the academy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Okona. And now, my Lord, I'll just give you 1 minute to round up your contribution to this session. That's a comprehensive summary of all that you said. And if you want to make any points, 1 minute, please, because we'll have questions. Thank you.
1 minute for a comprehensive summary. Well, let me say that the SPOMO Act has come to stay. I believe that with collaboration and cooperation of all the parties involved, council, the judiciary, law enforcement agencies, security agencies, inclusive of NIMASA, I believe that even though it's still a work in progress, Nigeria, by and by, will become a force to reckon with when it comes to safety of Africa's marine and blue economy, because we are talking of safety of Africa and Africa's marine and blue economy. Nigeria has always played a frontline role in different areas, and I think it's important to stress that this is one of the areas in which Nigeria has taken the lead in the Gulf of Guinea with the promulgation of the SPOMO Act. So I believe that with the collaboration of all parties involved, Nigeria will become one of the countries that will be a point of reference when it comes to maritime safety, blue economy. There are other initiatives of government, there are other policies that the government has, the initiatives that the government is doing, but I was given 1 minute, so it will get better. Thank you.
Thank you, my Lord. And so, Mr. Adewale, can you please do your own 1 minute? It's an African minute because my Lord took more than 1 minute. 1 African minute.
I will summarize my own based on commerce. What we call territorial waters and then exclusive economic zone. You can see it's happening with Dangote. Also, recently, the International Court of Justice increased Nigeria's economic zone in I think it was Equatorial Guinea. So all these areas, if they are kept safe, if there's safety in all these areas, then of course there will be increased trade. And of course that aligns once again with the theme of this conference, which is navigating the future of Africa's marine and blue economy. I believe if those zones can be kept free, territorial waters, exclusive economic zones, it will make for a greater marine and blue economy. I wanted to add or remind us that the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy was previously it was carved out of the Ministry of Transport. Ministry of Transport was for aviation, it was for shipping, it was for trains. Now they've taken it out so that it can develop. And I was joking with my colleague here. I said, how far is Oron from Calabar? He said, 25 minutes by boat, 3 hours by road. But with the development of the marine and blue economy in Nigeria, I hope that Oron will merge with Calabar with the success of the Maritime Academy of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adewole, and thank you. I'm now handing over the microphone to Dr. Okona for 1 minute. Not an African minute this time.
Thank you very much, Madam. Safety first for the development of blue economy. That's the central point of the theme. The only thing I want to draw our attention again to is we know there are many components in the blue economy. I mean, you have those involved in extractive mining, seabed mining, you have tourism, you have fisheries, you have aquaculture, and then you have maritime transportation itself. The safety of the entire blue economy is heavily dependent on the safety of maritime transportation because the products and services of all the other components of that blue economy are carried by ships. And this is why we cannot take it for granted. Training people, building capacity to be able to operate ships safely, to be able to operate ports safely, is a critical factor for the success of the blue economy. And that's why we will all need to continue to support Maritime Academy in our strive to training people, both at officers' ratings level and professional development and other human capacity development courses. We are doing our best because we are very conscious of the critical factor of safety for the survival and development of the blue economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And I will say very exceptional thank you to my Lord who has been passing the microphone throughout this, session. And so now we come to that time. I know that it's a bit of a dry topic, but I don't know if there are any questions that anybody wants to ask concerning maritime education and concerning security in the Gulf of Guinea. Any questions?
My name is Mariam Danhabu. I am an international maritime lawyer in the law firm of Foundation Chambers. I thank the panel for a very enlightening session. My question is to Justice Dipalu. My Lord, it's always a privilege to stand before you at the bar and at this conference as well. You spoke about the judicious and timeous adjudication of matters, particularly regarding offenses in the SPOMO Act. I want to ask, how is and how can the judiciary effectively integrate technology to enhance and efficiently expedite the adjudication and resolution of maritime cases? You identify that there's, delay, and maritime, it's a thing of time is money. So how can and how is judiciary incorporating technology in adjudication of cases, or particularly maritime cases? Thank you very much.
Well, let me say that there are some legal research search engines. There is Law Pavilion, there is Legalpedia. I know for a fact that Law Pavilion has upgraded their research engine now, that it involves and includes AI to the extent that you can, a judge, what you need to do is you can upload the claims and it will narrow down the issues. I also know that from interaction with those who are in charge of the Law Pavilion, they say that even at some point, if you can upload the arguments of counsel, it will, within a short period, give you, options. So there is Law Pavilion, which has incorporated AI, which makes the job of the judiciary faster. There are other search engines. I am not advertising for Law Pavilion or anyone. I'm just saying that they have incorporated AI, and it makes research for judges much faster, rather than having to go to the library to manually, physically look for law reports. Most times, even while the case is going on, you can do your research there and then. And if you find that it's something that you can do right on the bench there, you can give your judgment without going far. Or you could even stand it down, since you already have the facilities. Before the advent of AI by these search engines, the judge has to go to the library to start to go through law reports, go through the index, you go through the law reports, you now gather the law reports, and then you have to start one by one sieving through this law and this dictionary. But now, all of that has been removed. So the turnaround time from institution of a case to judgment or conviction has reduced drastically, and that includes maritime cases. I hope I have answered your question. Somewhat. Not completely. All right.
I also note that recently, about 2 days ago, I think they published in the papers or online that the Federal High Court has activated its online affidavit filing portal. However, that was limited only to affidavits that are not in disputed or contested matters in court, because they said there's still another whole protocol to be established for that. So maybe now we can now appeal to the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court through the Honorable Justice Dikbeolu that AI should not only be limited to the judges, it should also be extended to filing processes, to assigning cases, and then probably also getting some matters dealt with electronically, virtually, without us having to come to court. That, my Lord, is our take-home message for you. With all due respect, my Lord.
Let me add, there is virtual hearing that's been on, that started since COVID. So that has been on even till now. There are instances in which witnesses, in maritime cases particularly, where the witnesses are not within jurisdiction, the cases are dealt with manually. Evidence, documents are tendered virtually. Documents are also tendered virtually. So we don't have to wait indefinitely for someone who is in Canada or Sweden to get a flight to Nigeria before we deal with matters. So that is ongoing. I know that work is in progress with regards to e-filing also, that processes and documents can be filed from anywhere. But that's a work in progress. At least we have started with e-filing of affidavit in non-contentious matters.
Thank you, my Lord. There's another question from the lady. Well, exceptionally, Mr. Faj, please give it to him.
Thank you. My name is Femi Fajolu. I'm from Geo Shodekwan Company. My Lord, it's good to see your Lordship this morning. I'm flowing with what my learned friend, my question, and the response of my Lord, has to do with virtual hearing. Especially because pump price is very expensive now. When I told my secretary I was coming, I said, okay, is it going to be what it is? You know that fuel is expensive now. I said, no, the convener is my friend. I have to be, unfortunately I missed it yesterday. I have to be here today. That's why I'm here. In the light of the pump price, can the Federal High Court increase virtual hearing so that, like, out of 5 days, if we must get to court, let it be just 1 or 2 days? I'm asking, my Lord. Thank you.
Well, there are instances in which counsel have requested for virtual hearing. And where they do, I know that at the Federal High Court, Ikoyi, we have the facility for virtual hearing. And then also, some judges have taken the pains to ensure that they have the facility in their courts for virtual hearing. So there's nothing stopping any counsel who wants virtual hearing, whether you are within Lagos, you are within Nigeria, or you are within outside. There is nothing stopping it. If counsel requests for virtual hearing, definitely the facilities which are there will just be activated to take care of virtual hearing. Virtual hearing has come to stay. It's a part of the Federal High Court. We do it and we will continue to do it. Perhaps let me also use this medium to encourage counsel to, as far and as much as possible and as it suits them, to also request virtual hearing, because the more virtual hearings we have, the better we will be able to improve on the facilities. We will know where there are glitches and hitches and hiccups, and then we will improve on them. But if it's few and far between, maybe once a while, that we have counsel who request for virtual hearing, the opportunity to improve will not be there. But I want to encourage counsel, including Lola Ekwagu, request for virtual hearing, even if your office is very close by, to help us improve on the facility so that it will reduce the cost and expense, not just for lawyers, but even for litigants. They will be encouraged that, oh, I don't have to physically be there before my matter is taken. Thank you for the question. It's good to see you, Mr. Fajolu.
Thank you, my lord. And now for the lady, please. I have to be gender sensitive. No, the lady in front, yes. No, yeah. And then the lady behind. Okay. Before the gentleman, I saw your hand.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. My name is Adenike Ukonga, an ambassador of Nigeria. Until last year, I was the executive secretary of the Gulf of Guinea Commission.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I listened very attentively to the development on SPOMO. I know that when that commission was, was established for the purpose of doing many things, including ensuring safety and security in the Gulf of Guinea, part of the problem we realized was that there was no harmonization of legal documents. And that was taken as one of the objectives. When Nigeria promulgated the SPOMO in 2019, we were very happy, especially when they went to the extent of actually arresting and prosecuting and giving judgment. And I think, I don't know whether it was last year or the year before, there were some criminals that were apprehended outside the waters of Nigeria. I think they were brought back. I'm not very sure what the position is now, whether if somebody committed an offense outside the territorial waters of Nigeria and there is hot pursuit, they can be brought back to Nigeria and they can be prosecuted. That's number one. The second point is whether the Honorable Justice actually said something about not only do other member states, no, let me not say member states, countries of the region come to have their apprehended offenders tried in Nigeria, but it's better if they can also promulgate these laws so that every country will have its own laws. It's better. And we try to make sure that they are more or less the same thing, they contain the same thing. That's the second part of my question. The third part of my question is that, yes, since that, I don't know how many other cases have been tried, I know there has been a significant drop in the incidents of piracy in the Gulf of Guinea. But some cynics are saying that the number has reduced, partly, and we must give credit to that, partly because offenders know they can't get away as they used to do. Because there were instances when they would just be arrested, they get to the land and they say, sorry, we don't have any law with which they can be prosecuted. They know that has stopped. But also they said the criminals have now diverted their attention to other illegal activities. In the Niger Delta, they cited the case of, what do they do now? Bunkering, illegal pipeline vandalism and things like that. I don't want to believe that is the case, but I'm just putting it there so that people will know. and whether SPOMO actually also deals with incidents of pipeline vandalism, because that causes pollution and it's also a criminal offense. Thank you.
Like it was alluded to by the learned arbitrator, if someone commits you can be, not you, an offender can be apprehended outside the shores of Nigeria pursuant to the SPOMO Act, which has domesticated other conventions. So yes, an offender caught outside Nigeria can be brought to Nigeria. Let me also add that it's essential that, some offenses are continuous. There could have been elements of the offense which took place in Nigeria, and then other elements of the offense took place outside. As long as we have elements that took place here, and pursuant to the SPOMO Act, if you commit an offense outside of the shores of Nigeria, such a person can be brought to Nigeria for trial. Yes, like Mr. Adewale said, other countries are encouraged to domesticate the act, although they are already signatories to the conventions which we have domesticated. But I think for more efficacy and efficiency, it's better that other regions, perhaps with some collaboration with Nigeria also, domesticates the act so that we are all on the same pedestal and level. I think that answers my own part of the question. Oh yes, offenses in Niger Delta, pipeline, vandalism, and oil spillage and all of that, they all still come under maritime offenses, and they can be tried by the Federal High Court. So yes, they are all maritime offenses. And I believe that one of the reasons why piracy and maritime offenses has reduced is also the penalties, whether penalties on individuals or on companies. The penalties are quite steep. So I think that's also a contributory factor to the reduction in the maritime offenses.
Thank you, my lord.
Sorry, my lord. Has anybody, if pipeline vandalism and related acts can be tried under SPOMO, has anybody been brought to book over that under these SPOMO acts in Nigeria? Because it's quite prevalent too, even more prevalent than piracy.
None that I am aware of at the moment, but that requires the collaboration of security agencies along with NIMASA, that Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Army, Nigerian Air Force, DSS, and other security agencies. They are the ones who are at that forefront, who can apprehend these offenders. Once the offenders are apprehended and they go through the procedure of interrogation, then they are charged to court. But as of today, I am not aware of any anybody who has been tried for pipeline vandalism. There are other offenses which appear close to pipeline vandalism. That's people who deal in crude oil on the sea, within Nigeria's waterways, or who do bunkering on Nigeria's waterways. That I am aware of. But pipeline vandalism, I am not aware of anyone who has been tried for that offense under the SPOMO Act.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The lady behind her, yes.
Good afternoon, panelists, participants. My name is Osheza Queen Oniwo. I'm a maritime lawyer. By virtue of my interaction in human rights, I happen to be at the federal prisons, and one of the convicted persons under the SPOMO Act, we interacted with most of the inmates, and he was of the belief that he was rushed into conviction and had no time to even ventilate his side of his story. I don't want to bore us with his side of the story. So I'm saying justice rushed might be justice crushed. So what are we doing to distill the criminals from people who are likely not to be criminals? That's one leg. And I believe that question will be ably answered by my Lord. My next question is the congestions in courts. You come to court and sometimes you just take a date and leave. So are there plans to have something like similar to the International Tribunal on Law of the Sea, such that what the judge is dealing with is strictly maritime admiralty and nothing else? Because at the end of the day, the judges are complaining of being overworked. And it's telling on some of the cases, not just because there's no technology, but because one judge handling 1,005 cases, and part of it is a maritime case that should have a supervening effect on order, given the time and the commercial part of it. So my next question is, how much of maritime education is going on for exporters? The drive for commerce is making people to say they want to get into the economy, and that goes to the arbitrator. And sometimes they get into a quagmire because they don't understand the laws in the importing states or that they are exporting to. So sometimes they get back, they are subjected to the courts that they are importing to, and they get languages that are a barrier. So how much of education is going to encourage commerce? If people know that their dispute can be settled, they may be encouraged to go into more commerce. And those are my concerns. Thank you.
I agree with the acronym justice rushed is justice crushed. However, anybody who is brought to court, whether for criminal or civil, has a right to counsel. We have had occasions when a defendant did not have a lawyer, and because we did not want to rush and crush justice, we had to ask him. There is this organization that provides counsel. We asked him, do you want the court or the government to provide you with a lawyer? So to that extent, I do not think that, although the acronym is there, but it's not entirely true that justice is rushed. If someone is brought to court, and although the prosecution might say they are ready, if the defendant says, I don't have a lawyer, I want a lawyer, I do not think any judge will force or compel such a person to go on with his trial in the absence of a lawyer, because under the Constitution, he has a right to defense counsel of his choice, who must be given adequate time to prepare. So I don't think that, I do not know the facts and circumstances of the person who said he did not have time. I don't know if he had counsel who represented him. There are many facts and circumstances differ. There has been an instance in which, in a criminal matter, the defendant was brought to court. Initially, he pleaded not guilty. And then his lawyer requested for an adjournment. By the next day, the lawyer got up and said, I've consulted with the defendant and he wants to change his plea. And I asked him, you heard what your lawyer said, you want to change your plea. He shook his head. He shook his head. And I said, lawyer. And I said, in open court, let's talk. You said he wants to change his plea. He said he doesn't want to change his plea. that he doesn't know why his lawyer says he should change his plea. It happened in another matter involving a woman who was charged in a criminal offense. Similarly, the lawyer said, oh, my client wants to change her plea. And I usually ask them, you heard what your lawyer said, you understand English. Your lawyer says you want to change your plea. And to the shock of everyone in court, the woman said, I don't want to change my plea. My lawyer is the one who told me to come and change my plea. Ordinarily, it's something that one may have taken up because that's unprofessional. I do not want to say, and I have not said, that the lawyer wanted them to change their plea for his own personal, for whatever it is that's personal to him. So, at least in the Federal High Court, we do not rush justice. Even where defendants plead guilty, they are still given an opportunity. So, plea of guilt does not necessarily amount to conviction and sentence. So that's on the part of that. Please remind me of the second question. Congestion in courts.
Can we have specialized courts that deal strictly with maritime issues and nothing else, just like the International Tribunal on the Law of the Sea?
Recently,
such that the judges that handle maritime matters are not bogged down with other matters. They concentrate there, and it's going to improve manpower or women power as gender sensitive.
Well, I know of recent we had a seminar with and the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court was in attendance, and this issue of specialization was raised. I remember that Lola Ikuagu was also present at that session. And what the Chief Judge said that it may not be immediately expedient to designate a particular judge as maritime only. But we have been encouraged that if we have maritime cases, which I know that we do, we must give it priority over all other matters. Similarly, just like criminal matters are supposed to be given priority, we have been directed that if we have maritime cases, because of the sensitive nature of maritime cases, we give them priority. We take them first before we deal with other matters. So there is work going on with regards to designating judges as maritime judges. But in the meantime, where maritime cases are taken to court, we are encouraged to give them priority. With regards to continuing education for judges, there is continuing education for judges, not just with regards to maritime, but other aspects also.
Thank you, my lord. Sorry.
I believe the question on yes, I believe that, but in arbitration we have what we call arbitrability. If it is something, if it is a dispute that can be that is arbitrable, then there's no issue with that. The issue now comes when, if it's, for instance, from our own experience, if it's to do with the arrest of ships, that's within the purview of the Federal High Court. There's nothing you can do about that. But if it's a contract, a dispute between chandlers of a ship, or to do with the supply of diesel to a vessel, obviously that is arbitrable. There are certain things, I mean, customs offenses and offenses, arrest of ship. I know that no arbitrator in his right mind will deal with a dispute that has to do with the arrest of a ship. That is entirely within the purview. So the way to the test is this dispute that has come to the arbitral tribunal. Is it arbitrable? Is it something that is it something that is within the jurisdiction of the tribunal? If not, you cannot remove. The starting point is that the courts are there to even administer the arbitral process. And that's the place to start. So you go further and ask yourself, is it something that an arbitral tribunal can deal with? If not, then it goes back to the jurisdiction of the courts.
My Lord, you want to say something? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Adewale. The Section 20 conundrum is one that is still ongoing. However, I believe that the Supreme Court, what has happened is that there have been decisions by the Court of Appeal in which reference was not made to a Supreme Court decision earlier on, the MV Lupex. And in that case, the MV Lupex, that Section 20 does not oust the jurisdiction of the court. It only serves to postpone the time when the recourse to the courts will be heard. And for that reason, an arbitration agreement will be upheld. However, there are many other decisions of the Court of Appeal which have come to contrary conclusions. I will always suggest that anybody refer to the MV Lupex and cite it whenever such a challenge comes up. And so with that having been said, I want to thank the esteemed members of this panel, starting with, of course, my Lord, the Honorable Justice Dikpe Olu, whom I've had the pleasure of directing to answer questions in the course of this session. I also want to thank Mr. Boduri Adewale, the President of the Maritime Arbitrators Association of Nigeria, and last but by no means least, the representative of the Rector of the National Maritime Academy, or Dr. Kevin Okonna. Thank you all very much. You have kept the audience glued to their seats, in spite of the fact that I'm sure we overshot our time, but we didn't have anybody telling us time up. So thank you very much indeed. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, the audience. A round of applause for yourselves as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We shall be having a panel photograph. So we want to bring on the panel Her Excellency Ambassador Konga and the convener of this event, Madam Orise Matosa Edodo Emore. Very quickly, while the group photograph is on, I just want to give a brief announcement that we shall be having 10 minutes break. And secondly, if you're interested in joining our excursion team to Lekki Seaport, you can visit the reception center, then indicate your interest. Because actually, we Bola. Shall we put our hands together as you come to the platform? On the panel, we shall be having Rollins McCall, President, Women in Maritime in Africa, WIMA, Nigeria. Put our hands together. Still on the platform, we shall be having Nneka Abioyo, Vice President, Women in Maritime of West and Central Africa, WIMOCA. Ladies and gentlemen, put our hands together as she comes to the platform. You're welcome, ma'am. Okay. Madam Nneka Obiayo on the platform. Shall we put our hands together for her? Okay. Let me hand over the mic to the moderator to carry on from there.
I have one mic here. This chair, wait, there's one person. So that we have to be brief because of time. We don't have enough time. Good afternoon, audience. You're welcome to this session on women, which is in the program, Women in Maritime I want to be very apt. The role of women in promoting maritime safety. I have with me here 3 prominent representatives of WISTA, which is a premier women association, followed by WIMA, which is also an African association in maritime. They will introduce themselves within the next 2 minutes. And then you have the WIMOCA Vice President, Mrs. Obiayo. My name is Gloria Canabe. I've been in the industry for over 3 decades more. I'm the managing partner of Hudson G Nigeria Limited. We're into consultancy. We run courses for all agencies, particularly for those who are coming into the industry for the first time. Thank you very much. I'll ask the representative of WISTA to tell us a little bit about the topic. And first of all, introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bilkis Lawal. It's a pleasure to represent Dr. Odunayo Ani, the President's Women International Shipping and Trading Association, who is unavoidably absent. Okay, briefly, I would like to enlighten us about WISTA. WISTA was formed in 1974. We are 50 years this 2024. The Women International Shipping and Trading Association is a global organization connecting female executive and decision makers around the world. WISTA International serves as a connector for its network for more than 5,100 female professionals from all sectors of the maritime industry. I would say that 59 countries presently support National WISTA Association, each of which in turn is a member of and is guided by WISTA International. Nigeria is a member of this, or is an arm of this WISTA International. This year, WISTA Nigeria is 30 years old, and we provide in-country regional networking, business and skill building opportunities, corporate visibility, and also facilitating relationship within the industry. On a global scale, WISTA members have access to an incredibly diverse network of executives in the shipping and trading field on whom they can call for referral, connection, advice, and business collaboration. I'll pass the mic.
Just go ahead to the topic.
Okay, going ahead to the topic, the role of women in promoting maritime safety. This topic is actually a very front burner in the maritime industry in the sense that it cuts across safety. So women in the maritime industry, I would say, they've been underrepresented. However, we still play a very crucial role in terms of safety in the industry, particularly in terms of leadership and decision making. We have women in prominent role in the maritime industry, where women are pursuing career in maritime studies in areas of education and training. One of the fundamental ways women promote maritime safety is through education and training. Increasingly, women are pursuing careers in maritime studies, engineering, environmental science. Educational institutions are recognizing the importance of diversity in the workforce, and are actively encouraging female enrollment in maritime programs. By equipping women with necessary skill and knowledge, we are fostering a new generation of leaders who prioritize safety and innovation. I will also cut across the aspects of advocacy and policy development. WISTA, for an example, is an organization in the forefront advocating for safer maritime practices. We also have organizations such as IMO, who have been pivotal in promoting gender equality and maritime safety. These organizations work tirelessly to influence policy development, ensuring that safety standards are not only met, but are continuously improved. Okay, I think I'll pause for now and pass the mic
You
on.
give the mic to the next, the president of WIMA in Nigeria.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rollins McFoy. I am the president of WIMA Nigeria, WIMA Africa Nigeria chapter. And I am the CEO of Ocean Deep Services Limited. Talking about WIMA, WIMA was founded in 2015, so WIMA will be 10 years old next year, March. This is an association of blue economy, and the only association based on blue economy in Africa today. WIMA Africa was founded by one of the former presidents or one of the former chairpersons of African Union, when Dr. Zuma of South Africa was the chairperson of African Union. She recognized, the lacuna, the gap in women participating in maritime. And so she decided to put it on the table of the African Union. They looked at it critically and they saw that it was really true. Hence, WIMA Africa was born by African Union. So today, WIMA Africa is a baby of the African Union, and we sit with the African Union chairperson and all the presidents at Addis Ababa to take decisions concerning women in the blue economy. So we can, say that this is ours. Like you have children all over the world, but you narrow down passionately to your own children. So of all the female groups in the maritime industry, WIMA Africa is narrowed down to our own. Over the years, WIMA Africa have been recognized and, will I say, adopted by IMO. We have an MOU. They have been adopted also, and we have an MOU with ECOSOC, United Nations, and about AMA, which is the Association of African Maritime Associations, and about 10 other, international recognitions who partner with us and invite us and do trainings with us, mentor us. We mentor some of them too. So this is the foundation of WIMA Africa, WIMA Nigeria, like we're talking about. And then here in Nigeria, we also, like I earlier said, we happen to be the only female association totally based on blue economy. And we've been striving in that area, in the area of seafaring, we mentor the female seafarers, and we see to their well-being, and we see to the fact that whatever issue they bring on the table, we take it up because it's our issue. And then, of course, we mentor the young ones in University of Lagos, Oceanography, Oron, Okerenkoku, LASU, even the Polytechnic, anywhere, any of these higher institutions where we identify that there are maritime departments, and even the ones that don't have maritime departments, we've gone to those universities to talk to them, to enlighten them, to let them know the benefits of being on this side and how they can actually navigate into the maritime industry even after they have graduated as business administrators, public administrators, whatever, accountancy and all that.
Yes.
We let them know that and tell them that
we've had enough.
There are a lot of rooms.
The roles of women in Africa and in Nigeria.
Okay, so let's go to the point
topic.
of
The
safety.
reason why we are here.
The reason why we are here, we are talking about safety. Honestly speaking, when you want to talk about
5-6 minutes to talk about safety, because we have to move to the next person.
Okay, talk about
more to share.
Talk about safety. Honestly speaking, there is nothing special that women are going to do in safety that is not being done. All the things that the men are doing in safety, in maritime safety, is what the women are doing. Because SOLAS, we know how old it is. And, you know, it came, of course, and it has come to stay. So it's a part of study. It's not a part that you just know like that when it comes to safety at home, safety in construction industry, safety in different places is quite different from safety at sea. And then safety, you know, in the offices, maritime offices. So when we talk about what is the role of female in safety in the maritime industry, I kind of like get confused because what the men are doing is what we are doing. We are reading, we are taking OSHA, we are taking NEBOSH, we are doing safety professionals, we are going on board the vessels ensuring safety, we are seafarers, we are professional maritime safety, you know, people, and so that's what the men are doing. That's what the women that are into safety are doing also. Following the regulations, following the law that has put it in place. Because I don't think that any woman will want to do any other thing different from what is already on ground or what is adopted or what is brought in by IMO, because we all go to the same school, we all read the same book, and we all have the same certificates. There is no difference in our certificates. But what we should be asking is that, or what we should be appealing is that the men should also see us as professionals. They should stop seeing us as weaklings. When we bring a certificate, please value us by the certificate and empirical practices that you must have seen. Test the certificate. Test the owner of the certificate. Test the knowledge. Give some technical, you know, room to be able to validate the certificate and validate the professionalism of the woman that is having the certificate.
Thank you very much,
and
Mrs.
not
Rollins.
to just say, this is a woman, what can she do? That's
Thank you very
what
much.
I feel.
Can you give the mic to the next speaker, Mrs. Ineka Obiayon, who is the Vice President of WIMOCA?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nneka. I am the Vice President of Women in Maritime West and Central Africa and the Nigeria chapter, and the Secretary, the regional body, which is based in Ghana. Now, brief about WIMOCA. What we're supposed to speak about today is actually the role of women in promoting maritime safety. WIMOCA as a body was actually set up by the International Maritime Organization, the IMO, which is the global body that we know that sets rules and standards for operations in the maritime sector, all the maritime conventions that we've been hearing about since yesterday, and particularly the one that the theme of this event is focused on, which is safety first. The convention, the Safety of Life at Sea Convention, SOLAS, which is actually very important to maritime commerce and navigation. And here for us is what has the International Maritime Organization been doing to see that women play effective role in these matters. IMO, as far back as 1988, actually recognized the important role that women will be playing in this sector, and that is why they set up a gender program for women. And then over the years, IMO set up different women in maritime associations globally. IMO has 8 of them, 8 of these women associations. They are actually 4 developed and developing countries. Then we have the youngest of them all, which was set up in 2021, which is WIMOCA for the Western Central African sub-region. We have the first one, which was set up for the Pacific sub-region in 2016, and then we had another one for the Western Central Africa sub-region, which is for women in maritime and ports, called the MPWMP. Then we have the women in maritime in the Eastern Central Africa, WOMESA, and we have the Arab women, and then we have the WIMOCA that was set up in 2021, like I said. So the essence of this all is actually to see how the doors can be opened up for women to be able to gain more in terms of education, knowing that it had been a stereotype industry for them. So IMO also has training institutions like the Maritime Law Institute in Malta and the World Maritime University. So what IMO has been doing is to see that women are given more opportunities. And the reason for setting up these associations is also to drive home the need for women to be trained, for women to be trained in leadership roles and given opportunities to excel and make sure that they're not harassed and intimidated while they're doing their work. So access to these regional associations has provided members with platform to discuss a number of issues, and IMO would normally sponsor them to such programs so that we can come together and brainstorm on critical issues that would enable us to play effective role in the industry. And,
thank you very much, Mrs. Obianyo. I'll come back to WISTA. What plans do you have on ground to facilitate and to ensure that the safety of the role of women in maritime, they have plans on ground here to implement these safety measures that are, you heard her when she talked about SOLAS. So I want to know what we have on ground nationally about this topic we are dealing with this afternoon. What is the role of WISTA? What is WISTA doing about it?
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. WISTA, regarding the aspects of safety, has been doing, and they've done quite a lot, and they still have quite a number which they have in plan. I think recently WISTA donated number of boats to the community, some community in Lagos. And aside that, they do community outreach in which they educate the community on safety measures. They give out life protective equipment like safety jackets and educate them on how to use this. Aside this, WISTA has mentoring program in which they educate younger generations on how to go about safety and maintain as well as improve on themselves in line of safety. And also, WISTA organize workshop where they train women on tropical issues and emerging issues in the industry. Aside the networking, where WISTA provide this platform for professionals, they also ensure that they try to make sure that you keep abreast with happenings in the industry regarding safety.
Madam Rollins, what plans do we have? What plans do the women have on ground nationally? We're not talking about outside Nigeria concerning this safety issue for women in Nigeria. You will agree with me that WISTA and women, sometimes they have conflicting tendencies and conflicting roles in taking the message to the grassroots. So what plans do you think will ensure that WISTA, WIMA, WIMOCA can come together and have one voice, speak one voice, be on the same platform towards safety concerning women? You will agree with me that you can't walk either in the terminal on the vessel without the jacket. You can't walk there without having, you have your kits, you have the way you look. And it's important here to ask, what is WIMA doing to ensure that, because you remember one time where we had to take a boat from Apapa to Victoria Island. There are certain safety measures that you must comply with to ensure that you take that route. My experience in Maersk, they had, we used to cross to Apapa flour mill. You will not be allowed on the vessel, on the boat, conveying us there if you don't have the life jacket, if you don't wear sneakers. We had boots. So I want to see what has this women done to equip women. It's not only about teaching them, telling them about solars, but what have you physically done, your association has done, to ensure that we comply with international standard?
Started with NIWA about 6 or 7 years ago. We visited the CMS terminal where the ferries take off from, and we saw how dirty the place was. And then, of course, the vendors around that area. And we approached the management and we told them that we're professionals and we need to do something about this. They have to upgrade. We took it upon ourselves to go around CMS, all the vendors within that locality of the jetty, all the line of that water. We spoke to them, we educated them. We didn't stop there. We also donated very big waste bins to NIWA and around that place. And we also went on board the boats, all those boats plying maybe Apapa and different areas, and we put those waste bin in each of them, and we sailed with them. We educated them. We did about 3-4 sets of sailing with them to educate them that all these debris here, everything they throw on the floor of the boat or anything, is against safety, because these things are the things that go into the water and eventually enter inside the engine, or even obstruct the movements of the boat. That was our first, Then 2 years later, we were at Liverpool. We did the same. And also, we were at Oceanography. We did the same. And, of course, we have sponsorships. We have sponsored so many people. We asked them the area of specialization. Some of them have specialized in safety and all that. And that's why we carry our crusade far. This year, early this year, or was it late last year? Early this year, we were in Ebonyi State. We collaborated with the Ebonyi State government. We saw the governor, we spoke to him, and we went there to set up WIMA Nigeria, and we visited, they have 9 beaches. We visited their beaches, we did our orientation, and we are still carrying on. This year, we have about 4 states that we are yet to go to, and in Lagos alone, we have about 4 jetties that we are going to go to talk to them about safety.
Thank you very
Thank
much. Mrs. Obiayo, can you tell the audience what WIMOCA has done locally to ensure that women are involved, or women have been enlightened on safety measures?
Okay, thank you very much. Like I said, WIMOCA actually tries to bridge the gap between the International Maritime Organization and the Women in Maritime for West and Central Africa. So what our role actually is to ensure that those strategies that IMO has set up to ensure that there's inclusivity of women are applied, making sure that women get the training opportunities, like in the organizations, for instance, where I work in NIMASA, that there is a slot for more women for training opportunities, and also making sure that women occupy leadership positions, because that is what the maritime administrations and even other agencies of government are encouraged to report back on what they're doing to ensure inclusivity and ensure gender balance for women. So for us, it is to provide that awareness and education and enabling environment for women to thrive, and make sure that they get the right training and they are exposed to doing what they have to do, particularly also on issues of, for us, the seafarer issues, making sure that our female seafarers are protected from harassment and giving them the required visibility.
Thank you very much. I want you to use this platform to share the recent event that took place, was it in Cyprus? Where WIMOCA played a prominent role, and you came together with other WIMOCA women. Can you share your experience? I know you were not in attendance.
Yeah, I was.
But I saw the clip. So can you tell us more?
Yeah.
In 3 minutes.
Yeah. The IMO recently organized a continental conference, a joint conference for the women in maritime associations in Africa, which is the WIMOCA here for West and Central Africa, and the one for the port, and then WOMESA, the Women in Maritime for the East and Central Africa, WOMESA, which is based in Ghana. So this conference was held in Sao Tome and Principe. It was sponsored by the IMO and hosted by the government of Sao Tome and Principe between the 2nd to the 4th of September 2024. So the professionals from all over Africa gathered in Sao Tome to tackle the issue of safety through the women's lens. How does it affect us, and how do we foster a safe and secure maritime domain? There were quite a lot of discussions in this regard, paper presentations, which were sponsored by IMO, and we had quite a number of resource persons. So the takeaway from this conference was actually the need to build capacity for women in the African maritime sector, so that we'll be able to get more involved. And thereafter, we had our annual general conference. So it was quite
Thank you
enriching.
very much. I wanted you to share that experience with the audience. Coming to Mrs. McFoy, I know in some sectors they call you Mama Seafarer because you have passion for seafarers. Can you tell us how we can integrate women into SOLA's implementation? I'm sure you know. Tell the audience, what does SOLA mean?
Safety of life at sea.
Yes, so
That's what it means. And safety of life at sea, like I said, starts from the coasts, coastal area up to the international waters. And that was the reason why WIMA first visited inland waterways. And then from there, we are going to other countries. Other WIMA in other countries are also doing the same. I am the chairperson for Maritime Safety and Environmental Protection for Africa. And safety is very, very important. And that's why I said, right now, we are flagging off training in area of safety because people hardly realize that safety, it's a huge program and profession on its own, which, if you have these certificates, you could get them from Malmo, you could get them from, the most popular ones are Osha and Nebosh. If you have these ones, I mean, the sky is your limit. Every jetty needs a safety professional. Every shipping company needs safety professionals. Anybody that is doing anything that has to do with the maritime industry, most times, like NIMASA, DPR, MPA, and all that, if you need to register with them, you must bring your safety plan. You must have a resume of an in-house standard standby safety person. If you want to be a ship owner, you must have safety. So it's not a thing that you can just overlook. You can't walk over it just like that. It's a very important aspect of this maritime industry because safety is key. If you do not know the safety principles, we will have man overboard on board the vessels. We will have death in confined spaces. When there is an issue of fire, if you do not know safety, you do not know where the lifeboat is and all that, or all the equipment that you need to use to escape, there is a problem. If you do not know safety, you will not know the use and be able to recognize the life buoys on while sailing. So for the navigators and for seafarers in general, and for those of us who now work in offices, safety is key. And that is it. And I want to say something. You said, what are the women groups, different women associations doing to come together? 2 years ago, we birthed it, Women in Maritime, Nigeria, comprising of WISTA, WIMOCA, WIMA. And we have ever since then worked together while recognizing our different boundaries. WISTA is for trading and international, shipping and trading. WIMA is blue economy. WIMOCA is to amplify the regulations of IMO in this direction. We recognize our different boundaries and we work together to foster this industry and to be a formidable force and a vocal voice campaigning for women empowerment in this industry, women's rights in employment, selection, promotion, and stability. That's what we have been doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next person to talk is Mrs. Lawal. Can you tell us, other than buying of boats, that WISTA has engaged in Aguleri, in Lagos State? What plans do you have to ensure that women's safety is protected in the industry? We have a new dispensation now in WISTA. We have a new president. You are representing the president. What do you have on ground to ensure and to enforce this topic that we are dealing with this time around?
Okay, I will speak from the angle of the president of WISTA. I'm sure we are aware that the president of WISTA holds a strategic position in the maritime industry.
I give you 3 minutes.
She works directly with with NIMASA, and aside this, to ensure that women are actually strong in the industry, we have partnership with government agencies, which they are able to give us sponsorship to have women trained in concerned area where safety is the front burner. Aside this, giving as an empowerment, we also do advocacy, whereby we put the word of safety out there for women to ensure that it's been followed through, it's been maintained, and safety is at the front burner, whereby we have a good representation of women in this industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we have women from 3 organizations in the same industry. Mrs. Obiayo, I need you to say something about how to bring all the women together to ensure that they have one voice, they collaborate, they're doing the same thing at the same time. Because sometimes I see on the platform women in Togo, women in Cameroon, the way you see the turnout of local women coming together with educated women like those of you here now, and they are being mentored. I am yet to see that kind of scene here in Lagos. I want to be very honest with you. We only had that experience in Ebonyi. I saw one in Ebonyi when I had the privilege, I want to use the word privilege, to visit Ebonyi, and I saw that a lady in Nimasa who is from that state was able to prepare the safe landing that all the women in that state participated in that forum. I have not seen that experience here yet, except the day we went to donate a boat that you saw the locals. You know, you cannot talk about maritime without the sea and the coastal areas. These 2 wings provide employment, they improve livelihood, and they create particularly economic opportunities. So with WIMOCA as the IMO representative, quote, full representative, WIMA is AU representative. Can you share with us how why there can be collaboration and synergy between all the women associations concerning having one voice and doing the same thing at the same time?
Thank you very much. The most important thing for us is actually recognizing the fact that we're working together, collaborating together to achieve one aim, which is recognition for women, which is removing the gender stereotype and making sure that we're able to thrive and we have more women in leadership. And I must say that quite a number of mentors we've had in industry, a number of women who would have loved to be here today, have actually been working together. I mean, from the time of WISTA to make sure that we're all speaking with one voice. We have Mrs. Osoro, we have Luluk, we have the former permanent secretary, Ministry of Transportation, Mrs. Magdalene, and these women have put us together. They have mentored us, and they have, at every opportunity, given us the window to thrive. They have spoken for us, leading us to top government functionaries to advocate for women in the industry. And that is why you see the collaboration that we have today. most of us are members of all of these associations. I am a member of WISTA. I am a member of, so there's actually no dichotomy. It's more like saying the more the merrier, or if there is someone who has the opportunity of taking it up to another quarter, and then somebody can listen to us, and then it makes it easy for us to exist together. Actually, when we celebrated the International Day for Women in Maritime, which was on the 8th of May, we were in Nimasa. We were hosted by Nimasa, all of us together. And there was a lot of commitment to make sure that issues that concern women in the industry is given quite some consideration. We have been advocating that, yes, appointments were given, ministerial appointments, and then we're still hoping that when the boards are created, we will have more women in leadership, more women in the board, because that is the only way it will be possible for our voices to be heard. So we've been pushing for this. We've sent our contributions on the ongoing policies that are being advocated to make sure that there are specific policies on empowering women in our country to ensure that we thrive.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Lawal, I want you to just give me 1 point of action plan for women in the maritime group. Just a point. What do you recommend? What will you recommend, or what do you recommend?
Sorry, take the question.
Something like you want the various associations,
Okay.
yes, to do something. You bring out a point, what you want to see in the future happen in the industry among the women. What do you suggest?
What WISTA would like to see is a time where the gender bias is going to come to minimal. Presently, women are underrepresented, and the stereotype still exists. When we talk about male and female working together, we still have the issue of harassment and stuff like that. So we want to say in the future that I know policies are being brought up, but we want to see in the future whereby this is actually being implemented strongly, and where women can actually be at equal par with their counterparts. Thank you.
Mrs. Rollins, can you give us just one idea or recommendation?
When it has to do with NIMASA, Women Nigeria would like for NIMASA to set up a gender desk. I do not know if they have one now. And the gender desk, I want it to be particularly focused, because we're having women maritime administrators, women maritime lawyers, and all that. But like female seafarers, even the ones that are trained by NIMASA, 99% have no job. The ones that have gone to Oron, the ones that have gone to oceanography, many of them have diversified. And this has been a very big problem. Why? Because ship owners are segregating against them and feel that they cannot do the job. But these are people that have sailed abroad sometimes and all that, and then you come back to your country and you are not given even a trial. Your CVs are collected and kept somewhere because you are a woman. So, if this gender desk is set up and is particular on this, as a woman, if you submit your CV to any company and they did not call you for interview and let it be that you failed, if you fail, it's a different thing. We can't help you. But if they called you to the interview and it is recorded and you made it, why wouldn't you be put on board? Because presently we have 1.6% of female seafarers all over the world, 1.6. And in the maritime industry as a whole, both the administrators, both the lawyers and all that, in the whole world we have 24,000 out of the whole world. So you can see how so low and how so small it is. This gender desk, NIMASA should get serious about ship owners who reject female professional seafarers.
Thank you very much. Ms. Obianyo, before you make your recommendation, how do you think the association, the Women Association, can take advantage of the advantages available with the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs? We have a Women Affairs Ministry. Yes, yes. How do you think we can come together and present a communique or a letter written by all, approved by all, and get it across to the Ministry of Women Affairs so that they give us opportunities to thrive? I'll give you an example. In Lome, for example, Lome is a small country. Notwithstanding, for every international event, they are always there. You agree with me? If it is WIMA, if it is WISTA, if it is WIMOCA, they are always there. So there's something certainly wrong here, which also we can take advantage of the Ministry of Women Affairs to take our plight, let me use the word plight, to them so that they will give us audience on how to at least be on the same level with other countries, smaller countries in Africa. How can we take advantage of Ministry of Women Affairs? Because as a civil servant, you know how to go about it. Can you make suggestions?
I don't know whether as a civil servant I know, but I think what I know is that it behoves on us to articulate our points together and forward it to the right channel, and then obviously we would get something out of it. But we need to know what we're looking out for, and we need to come together. And not the problem usually is that everybody is fighting for different things, and people can be very sentimental or personal about what their drive is. So if we have a common drive, we put it in paper and then submit it to the right quarters and see what we can get out of it. Because the issue of gender equality is an SDG thing, so it's global and it's something that everybody is focused on ensuring that it's been done and done the right way. Even as you know, the part of the IMO strategy document for the WIMAs is that they are beginning to take data on the number of women working in the industry. That last data was taken in 2021, and that was where they came to realize that only 2% of seafarers are women globally. So there's an ongoing data collection for 2024. So it's left for the women associations to collect this information, put them together so that you're speaking to paper and you know what you're saying. If we actually say that we have few women professionals, and we're able to list those women professionals who are eminently qualified and are all over, who can take advantage of these positions that are available, and I can assure you that you know that the women will do it as well. I don't want to say better.
Thank you very much. I want to, yesterday when I was discussing this with someone, she said constant skill development. For constant skill development. Constant, regular, whichever word you want to use. Yeah. Skill development for women in the maritime industry. You see, in whatever level you find yourself, you must have succession plan. And that means that there are young ones around us that we must prepare to take over from us. So how can WIMA, WISTA, WILAT, whatever we come together and at least once in a year have a training program for the junior ones? Okay.
Yeah, for us in WIMOCA, we've already articulated that we should be able to have empowerment sections for the younger ones. We should be able to hold workshops for them and offer them free mentoring, because quite a lot of senior women are very well exposed to a number of issues that they need to learn from. So because we strongly believe that if you empower the woman with the right skills and the knowledge that the woman needs to excel in the industry, then that definitely will help us ensure improvement in safety standards. So we're working on that as a priority.
Thank you very much. I need a word each from all of you, so that's a parting word concerning this topic. A parting word.
So it's actually for the relevant authorities, some of who are here, to continue to expand education and training opportunities for women in industry. I know what the Maritime Academy is doing, and also to understand that, like I said, IMO makes that a priority. If they give 50% opportunities to women who apply to most of the training institutions. So we want women to be prioritized and given opportunity to excel as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Rollins. Parting word.
My parting word is that when men meet over a cup of coffee or a cup of water, or even at hockey or whatever, lawn tennis, nairas, millions exchange hands. Dollars exchange hand. Women in the house, learn to meet and let alerts be happening. Everything is dependent on us. When we put ourselves together, hold ourselves like this, then the men will begin to recognize that we have put meanings to ourselves. Wherever you work, if you are positionally placed, make sure that if there is anything that is going out, there must be 1-2 women, even in the midst of 6. Open your doors. For instance, in my office, if you are a woman and you come to my office, no matter how busy I am, I will see you. I can give you only 30 seconds. You will come into my office and I'll say, oh, I'm sorry. I'm not able to see you today. Can you call me? Okay, I can do it. I cannot do it. I'm sorry. It's not part of what I can do. But I don't send the woman back. And it's a standing order in my office. So, thank you. That's what I give the microphone to the minister representative.
Parting word.
You are younger than all of us here.
Yes, and I stand with what Madam Obiayo had said and Madam McFoy had said. They are quite very insightful. And for me, I would say the role of women in promoting maritime safety is multifaceted and indispensable. Their contribution in education, leadership, advocacy, and maritime engagement and community engagement, as the case may be, pave way for safety in the industry. So let's continue to support women empowerment in the industry, and I'm sure we'll get to where our dreams are.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the audience? Just 2 questions. Two. From 2 persons. Any question or contribution or commendation? Say something about this panel. It's been very interesting, insightful. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Who gives him microphone?
Yes, Mike. I think we'll have the other mic. Thank you.
Oga lawyer.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Femi Fajo from Geo Shodepo and Company. What I have to say is that I can say that the women are ganging up. In your gang up, please don't forget also. And most importantly, don't forget that you have male children too. Please don't forget us in your gang up. Thank you.
We won't forget you, sir. You are welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I stand on all existing protocols. I want to say thank you to the panel, amazing women in the industry. Thank you so much for the insights you have given us. Please clap for them. And I want to say, as a member of the three wonderful associations, it might look like it's a repetition, but the three associations are doing different things. They represent different things. And I'm looking at faces here today, and I do not know most of us. And a lot of us are either maritime lawyers, maritime professionals. This is an opportunity for us. Enough of always saying we want them to do this, we want them to do that. If we are not all coming together to put all hands on deck, this is a period we need to put all hands on deck. It's been decades of saying we want more women here, more women there. We find out that you have a lot of professionals, women professionals. Everyone in this room are professionals in their field. But we are missing in these associations. So we need more people to push forth everything, all the policies that are being brought up. A lot of money is being spent by the associations, by sponsors, to put things together for a lot of us. But we are not available. Mrs. Obiano talked about the data needed by IMO. They want to know how many women are in these fields. How many women are in the maritime industry? What if the women there are even up to 10% and we are still saying they are 2% when we don't even know where the women are? So I'm just joining their voices to call for every one of us, to put all hands on deck, come together. You cannot be in isolation. As a professional in the industry, especially as a woman, it's usually hard, to move in the industry. So if you have associations like this that will help you professionally, please, let's take advantage of it. Thank you very much.
Any other question?
On that note, we come to the end of this session. And thank you all for participating. Thank you all, thank you all, thank you all.
Thank you very much. Please, shall we have the convener to join the panel photograph and our ambassador? Please.
Had the participants, had observations from them, had recommendations from them, had question and answers. So please do well to get in touch with the organizers for a very encompassing report. But then in day one, we had a panel session. The first roundtable session was on maritime security in the Gulf of Guinea, and this was moderated by Her Excellency the Ambassador Florentina Adenike Ukonga. And the second roundtable session was titled Maritime Transportation and Port Development, and they addressed the adaptation of new technologies for smart ports in Africa. They talked about fleet development and the growth of the blue economy and safety in the inland waterways and the growth of the blue economy as well. The third panel session on day one focused on marine environment and safety. The moderator of the panel session was Mrs. Moluke Akimolado, and she addressed alongside other panelists the adaptation of new technologies for cleaner marine technologies. Cleaner marine environment, I beg your pardon. They also talked about safety of the coastal communities and development of the blue economy, safety of transportation of crude oil and the development of blue economy, and lastly, safety of shipyards and development of the blue economy. So that brings the communique on day one to a close. I would invite my colleague Blessing, please a round of applause for her, as she gives us a summary of the communique for day two.
Good day, everyone. Yeah, please a round of applause for the rapporteur one. Like, it was really a teamwork and she was very effective. Please, something to take note. So I'll be reading for day two. We have a very long one, but I'll try to summarize it. So day two started with the keynote address being delivered by Engineer Felix Omatsola Ogbe, Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, but it was represented by Mr. Silas Ajuni Jaye, who delivered a keynote address on the future of Africa's marine and blue economy. He emphasized the blue economy's role in driving Africa's GDP, covering sectors like fisheries, maritime transport, tourism, and offshore energy, while highlighting its vast potential for further growth. He noted that Africa's marine resources, including fish stocks, minerals, and energy are abundant, but challenges like overfishing, He noted that Africa's marine resources, including fish stocks, minerals, and energy are abundant, but challenges like overfishing, pollution, and inadequate infrastructure persist. He praised South Africa's marine protected areas and Kenya's sustainable fishing practices as examples of positive growth. Addressing safety concerns, which is one of the key things we discussed in this Slim Week, he stressed the importance of regulations, training, and technology to reduce risk such as accident and piracy. He urged the adoption of safety protocols to protect maritime workers and improve industry standards. Sustainability, another key focus, was linked to economic resilience with eco-friendly initiatives like tourism in the Seychelles, enhancing local economies. He underscored the role of NCDMB in promoting safety and sustainability, citing initiatives such as Project 100 and the Marine Vessel Utilization Scheme. Without boring us, we have Roundtable 4, which centered on offshore and seabed mining. That topic was also divided into 3: Nigerian content and safety of deep offshore, speed in deep offshore, insurance of marine assets in deep offshore, and financing acquisition of maritime assets. I would not want to bore us, but we had Mrs. Toyin Yusuf moderate the session, and the panelists include Engineer Felix Omosola Ogbe, represented by Mr. Silas, Mr. Dayo Mobere Ola, Enitan Sholarin, Richard Inegbendion, and Dr. Laduni Owo. So the session, without boring us, delve into the critical role that offshore resources play in Nigeria's economic development, particularly through harnessing deep offshore and seabed mining, with Nigeria's push towards maximizing its local content in various sectors, particularly in maritime and offshore industry. The discussion explored the stride being made to integrate local participation and expertise. Now, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board listed some of their achievements. They said as a body, they have been able to provide certification programs for persons on board ship, and they also said they have collaborated with businesses in the marine sector to provide sea-time training for Nigerians. And they also said there's a product by them to harmonize standards for marine vessel classification to meet up internationally. They also mentioned that they have a product named Nigerian Content Marine Vessel Certificate for marine asset ownership management, and they encourage the audience to look at this product or to look into this product and also try to benefit from it. Recommendations by the NCDMB: government should address overfishing, pollution, and inadequate infrastructure to fully harness the blue economy's potential. They encourage continuous training and technology adoption should be prioritized to improve maritime safety. Adopting sustainable practices like Kenya's fishing initiatives and eco-friendly tourism. Now, Mrs. Enito Sholari, another panelist, the managing director of Yao Insurance Brokers, she observed that offshore operations are very complex and they involve high risks like piracy, pollution, and armed robbery. She also mentioned that the Nigerian insurance market lacks full capacity to cover offshore risks, leading to reliance on international markets. And she also mentioned that ship owners face challenges in ensuring their assets at the right value and encouraged that ship owners should insure their assets at right value. Also, the recommendations by her include ship owners should be educated on the importance of insuring assets at the correct value, which I've mentioned. She also said that we should foster collaboration between insurance companies, maritime agencies, and stakeholders for joint training and knowledge sharing. Dr. Oladuni Owo, the third panelist, president of Women in Energy, Oil and Gas, she was represented by Mrs. Roots. I would not want to pronounce the surname so that I don't spoil it. Observations. She made their observations and said women in the oil and gas industry face significant gender bias, which limits their participation and growth in the sector. She also mentioned another challenge, which was funding, that even when women want to acquire ships or vessels, they are limited, that desire is limited to achieve because of lack of funding. And she also mentioned that women are underrepresented in ship chandling services, a key area of opportunity in the sector. For her recommendations, she mentioned the following: that there should be collaboration with the government to advocate for funding opportunities for women to acquire vessels and other assets in the oil and gas industry. She also said that there should be partnership between women, industry stakeholders, and government bodies to enhance women's participation in ship chandling and other services. And she said there should be continued advocating for increased visibility and opportunities for women in the energy, oil, and gas sector. Also, I'll go down to the next session, to the next roundtable, which was roundtable 5. So that the discussion on roundtable 5 centered on maritime training, education, and law, where we had Milord and some other panelists. So I'll go down to their observations and recommendations. So the Federal High Court, Milord mentioned that the Federal High Court is committed to timely adjudication of maritime offences under the SPOMO Act. However, this timeously adjudication may not be possible based on technicalities used by some counsel, and Milord encouraged counsel to make do with technicalities so that maritime issues can be dealt with judiciously and timeously. Now, he also recommended that the SPOMO Act itself should be regularly reviewed and updated. At the moment, we know that the SPOMO Act is being reviewed, but he said there should still be more reviews and it should be updated because there are some lacunas there. The ambassador mentioned a question, she asked a question where she said pipeline vandalism. She figured that it's not being treated under, it's not being stated in the SPOMO Act. That is there an act for trying the offenders of pipeline vandalism. And so those are just the lacuna that we should remember, and we should look forward to, hopefully this communique gets to the right persons and they're able to deal with it. Also, we have another observation from Commodore Emmanuel Daju, the rector, Maritime Academy of Nigeria. He mentioned that the Maritime Academy of Nigeria, ORON, has been instrumental in training personnel to address maritime security threats, including adherence to the ISPS code protocols. And also, he made some recommendations. He said they should enhance training programs. They should continue to expand and improve training programs to ensure that they meet the evolving needs of maritime security. Okay, so another panelist. Okay, sorry, so I go to the last roundtable session, which was Women in Maritime, where we have different representatives from WIMOCA, WIMA, and WISTA, which are the women bodies in the maritime. And that session was moderated by Mrs. Gloria Kanabe. Part of the recommendations made was that women that they enjoined us that women that are here should join these bodies, and so that we can face this